Outdoors new fashionable shoes from Kumasi Shoe Factory. Jospon Group provides equipment for Ghana Armed Forces. Tidal wave sweep away homes at Agaveji, Salakopa in the Ketu South constituency. Also, 1 killed, 8 injured in clashes between Achim Sonafo residents and miners. Also on the back page, Ghana to receive $27.4 million for vaccine delivery. U.S. Global Vaccine Initiative there. And stakeholders desire disability inclusion. The BNFT, mobile money loses 10 billion Ghana cedis in value as e-levy implementation nears. We're not yet in May, but the figures are dropping. I hear people are shutting down their accounts. Can they? Can they not? Well, industry. Kumasi Shoe Factory goes public with fashionable shoes. Baumia unveils joint venture companies under Dayhawk and Z-Mobile Ghana app. New experience, new look. The Finder newspaper. It says Dr. Baumia inaugurates 12 Ghana Armed Forces private sector partnerships. Dr. Baumia launches new fashionable shoes as a Dayhawk initiative. Destination Ghana project launched, inviting and welcoming the rest of the world to visit Ghana. The Daily Graphic is our final newspaper for this morning. Destination Ghana launched and project targets 1 million tourists from UK, Europe annually. Also, government spends 5 million Ghana cedis on Ajeng Kotoku Onion Market. You remember they were relocated from the Agbogboshe area. Don't abandon COVID-19 protocol. Ghana Health Service cautions public. And country on high alert against terrorist attack. Minister of National Security is assuring. On the back page, something that broke my heart a few days ago. The latest tidal waves in Keta. NADMO responds with relief items, rescue boats. They are asking for a place to lay their heads permanently. My guest this morning, Dr. Amwaku Kesi. He is... Adumaku Kisi, sorry about that. He is the Member of Parliament for the Anyaswotum constituency in the Greater Accra region. Also, Eric Edem Agbana is the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC. Gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Very well.
Edem, you're in green. You're preparing for the Green Day, Green Ghana Day.
You know, my party, green is one of the dominant colors, and and I lead the Green Army, so it's always good, to be in green.
But not for Green Ghana Day. I want to plant
Green
trees.
Ghana. Yes, I definitely will join them to plant the trees. I've planted a couple of trees in the past, joined a number of CSOs to do that. But I think that there's a lot of work to be done. We need to know, beyond planting the trees, how many of the trees are surviving? These are the big questions to ask. And so, beyond spending the millions of dollars in having fanfare that we are planting 1 million trees, 10 million trees, months or years later, we must ask the question that how many of the trees that we planted the last time survived, so that really we can all help to protect the environment.
The president said 90% of them are doing very well. He said it at the SONA.
But you see, the truth is that I have gotten to a point where I treat words from President Akufo-Addo with a pinch of salt, because I really think that in the past 5 years, President Akufo-Addo has succeeded in convincing me that he's not a man of his words. Several platforms, he tells blatant lies. Even at the last SONA, we'll go into the issues about road and all of that. And so I don't believe President Akufo-Addo when he says anything. So because of that, I can't take his 90% survival rate as the truth, unless some independent body or CSO verifies it. I don't believe Akufo-Addo, because I think that he's a liar.
President Akufo-Addo.
Yes, President Akufo-Addo.
Yes. Your words are quite harsh this morning, isn't it? Doc, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Patrick Boko, I'm doing very well.
Is Parliament rising today?
We're hoping so.
Okay.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances or surprises. During the past several months, on occasion, the opposition have not kept their word and surprised us. So, like I said, barring unforeseen circumstances, we're hoping to rise early and to get into local politics, which is going back to our constituencies.
Right. Right, I see. Well, yesterday, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had occasion to speak with Peter Okoche of the BBC. We'll get to that conversation. But first, Adam, I want to pick your thoughts on the present situation in the Volta region regarding the tidal waves. It hit again. This was anticipated because NADMO themselves had warned that a possibility of it coming back. The Minister for Works had assured that the phase 2 of the Sea Defence project will be kick-started. He was looking for money for it. But even before we finished that enterprise, here we are again. People are stranded one more time. What do you know?
Well, before I get into the issues of Tidal, Brave in the Volta region, let me use the opportunity to congratulate Kwesi Etuahini, the NUCS president-elect, as a former SRC president of the University of Ghana and a former executive committee member of NUCS. And as a youth leader, I have followed the NUCS elections keenly, and I'm excited that for the first time in a long time, in recent times.
That is contentious.
I mean, it's contentious. So you can also say what you know. I mean, I am congratulating somebody.
I'm just saying it's not appropriate, from an editorial standpoint.
No, but
to put more
even,
dust in the public eye.
But by media, look, Johnny.
I wouldn't even sit here.
You should allow me.
But I'm saying,
Johnny, what I'm saying is that Johnny, I think it's important for me to finish. Yes, Johnny, there was an election.
Right.
I am congratulating the person I believe and I know legitimately won. There are newspapers that are reporting that a certain Dennis won. Why are you not taking those ones on?
But
I am congratulating Kwesi Etuahini and allow me to finish what I'm saying.
At the height that you have risen to and having served at that high level, central.
So the very reason why you should even believe me, so allow me to congratulate who I feel is legitimate.
In the NUCS sense, you are now a statesman.
And I'm telling you that. No, it shouldn't. So you see, being at the center does not mean being neutral, because neutrality does not help the oppressed. It only helps the oppressor. If there is wrong, right and wrong, and you believe that by being in the middle is what will help, it is not. We ought to be speaking truth to power. You can say you don't want us to go into the issues, but I am telling you that the NUCS president-elect is Kwesi Etuahini. Anybody who has challenged you that to go to court.
By how many votes?
Kwesi Etuahini was elected by resolution of the various blocks of NUCS. I am not the electoral commissioner to mention the number of votes. All I know is that the papers that are reporting a certain Dennis have not given you a number of votes. What I know is that Kwesi Etuahini and his set of they elected, and so we can go.
Because you mentioned, allow Doc to also have a bite on it.
But you asked on voter registration.
Yes, I did. You introduced this, so allow him.
Why is it uncomfortable?
Listen, I think we need to do our audience a good service, and I really think that it's about time we do the appropriate thing. I mean, politics is not like land purchase in Ghana, where what I mean by that is, in land purchase and unfortunately, the land is sold to 3 or 4 people. But politics, a win is a win.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And it's becoming almost a habit of the opposition leadership now to almost contend any loss. When you lose, take it in good faith, prepare and come back. Just as it stands, the same playbook they used to end up in court, where they didn't have numbers, is almost about the same thing. And I really think that we ought to stop this recurrent behavior of failing to accept our faith as it is. I mean, if you go into a contest and you lose, be a good loser, show that you're a good sportsman, and don't be the sports guy. I saw a video yesterday, 2 tennis players, one guy loses and then slaps the other guy. We shouldn't be doing that. Let's sort of encourage it. We should be decent politicians, decent people when we even lose in sports. So I really think that this consistent.
So as I said, the matter is contentious.
That's why I
want to see a closure brought to it, because
so don't
we all belong to NUCS.
Yeah, and we know what is happening. But again, you see,
do not make claims when it's not substantiated.
To conclude on that matter,
it's okay. You have concluded.
I think it's important for us to also state on your platform that national security must have a proper place in our body politic and what they do.
Right.
It is very appalling that for student elections, national security operatives will be detailed to go intimidate and try to rig elections. And I'm saying it on your platform.
But national security goes everywhere.
No, Johnny, we have held student elections for so long. I have been a member of NUCS and done student politics for at least 15 good years. Okay, Johnny, I started attending NUCS Congress when I was in secondary school.
Same here.
And I'm telling you that this is the first time we are seeing national. Last year it was Azugu and Co. DSP Azugu. This year national security operatives wielding guns and all of that, trying to come and intimidate. And I'm telling you that.
Saw them.
And yes, we saw videos, we've seen pictures.
You were there.
They ought to stop.
You were there in person.
We have seen videos. We have to stop. National security must stop interfering in student elections. The government should not have a hand in deciding who should lead the student body. Students have genuine concerns. Issues about delay in the disbursement of student loan. Issues about accommodation on tertiary campuses. Issues about increasing school fees. And all the issues that students have been affected with. Government is concerned with trying to impose a leader on them. That will not happen. And those of us who have the interest of students at heart will go every length to ensure that the rightful leaders of NUCs are protected.
I'm interested in that video you're talking about. Maybe you forward it to me.
I'll forward you videos and pictures of national security operatives.
But thank you very much indeed. And my position still remains. If it's contentious,
thank you.
We don't run verdict on it. We wait. I hope that NUCs is able to put their house in order. They have the structures. If you're a delegate, you are. If you are not, you're an observer. There should not be that confusion about who a delegate is and who is not. We all know.
Yeah, one of your colleagues
we understand all of what those. We understand that there are blocks. We understand that there are Central Committee, General Assembly, whatever it is. I mean, and the structures have been there since the 1940s. It cannot be that it got to your turn and everything is messed up. I'm not happy at all. And there are too many people who have gone through NUCs who are doing very well in society today. Too many examples. So we should not let down that flag. Okay, Adam.
On the tidal wave,
yes.
John is very, very, very pathetic that we keep bringing these conversations up every now and then. We discuss it, and then after a while, we forget about the issue until the problem resurfaces again. Yesterday, I listened to you and your colleague, Cookie,
right,
and she recounted the number of times this happened in recent times. And then I also followed some of the promises made, speeches that were given by our leaders, donations that were raised, and after that, we all went to sleep again until the problem resurfaced. It's quite pathetic. It's very sad. I have listened to the Member of Parliament for Ketu South, the Honorable Ablaji Fagumashi. I have monitored interviews and donations by NADMO. I think it's about time we all put the politics aside and look at what we can do to address the problem once and for all. NADMO's response on this particular one, this recent one, is a much better improvement than it used to be in the past.
Agreed.
And so I must commend Honorable Eric Ajiman. I'm sure that's his name,
that's his
the
name, yeah.
NADMO director, because in the past weeks, days, Member of Parliament has to be calling out NADMO and government before they responded. But on this recent one, I must admit that they responded quite earlier, much better than they used to be. However, the bigger problem in Ketu South or in that area, and these are reports that I got from indigents, has to do with the response of the MCE or the Municipal Assembly.
Right. What is
when it happened in Amutinu and Salakope the other time, some machines were given or government announced, and even when NADMO came, some donations were given through the MCE's office. And so distribution was supposed to be monitored by the district NADMO office and the MCE and all of that. This morning, just before I came into your studio, I got a message from one of the assembly members from the area that outboard motors that were given, the MCE hasn't shared it, and I think that is important, and your producers can call him.
Why? Why
But before,
allow him, please.
Oh my
No, but-
goodness.
Doc, sorry, allow him. Let him.
And I'm saying that I got reports from the place.
This is an assemblyman saying this.
My only thing is that how does outboard motors help with tidal waves. That's where I mean.
Well,
you know, I hope you get what I'm coming
You know,
from.
they're official
relief,
folks. They
yes,
made
they are official folks.
They made a request for those.
And when their economic activities are
you
destroyed,
finish and I'll talk.
they have been displaced. They have been
quite,
displaced. Economic activities have been displaced. Government comes in to give relief items. Relief items is not only in terms of food and accommodation, but also what will help them to
you continue.
Go ahead.
Yes, and so to get back on their feet economically. And so all of these items that usually gets to the place, many of them have not been distributed.
You're mentioning outboard motors.
Outboard motors. And as I speak, in Salakope, people are still sleeping in the church. What is the plan to get these displaced people properly sorted? They sleep in church. And so when it gets to a Sunday or the church has an activity, and that's why I'm mentioning the specific community so that you can check. So I'm telling you, Johnny, that in Salakope as we speak, victims are still sleeping in church. Meanwhile, it is out there that they have provided temporary arrangements to accommodate them, and which does not include this church arrangement that the victims themselves made with the aid of their community leaders and all of that. And so the response is good, but let's ensure that we follow through so that every victim is properly catered for. But beyond the response to the wave, we have to find a lasting solution to the problem of the tidal wave.
One of the solutions that have been proposed by the MCE, for example, is that the people need to move. But the people are also insisting that they have some ancestral connection to the place.
I don't dispute. You see, leadership, when you're a leader, it's always difficult to make some key decisions. I recall when President Kufuor wanted to build the Bui Dam. The people around Bui refused. Remember, it was a whole lot of difficult work for government to convince them that we want to relocate you. And then they designed some packages. And so if the MCE, acting on behalf of the government, believes that where the people are staying is dangerous, it's perilous, they cannot continue to stay there, make proper arrangements and relocate them, build structures for them, and make sure they are properly catered for, and they will move. But when you just go on an evangelism that you need to move, you need to relocate, one, people are usually afraid of change, and they have lived there all their lives, and so they can easily buy into the argument that due to some ancestral beliefs and whatever, they cannot. Remember, there were times. It was a point. Remember that, yes, that Johnny. There were times in this country where even school, to build a school, the people will tell you that there used to be a shrine in this particular area, or the roads to be constructed. They will tell you we have to come and perform some rituals before you be able to. So these things are all about engagement. So the MCE should not make it look as though the people have refused to listen to the voice of reason. Government should get response quickly and engage them. I think that beyond the engagement as well, we also have to look at what happened to the sea defense project started by the NDC government.
No. Kufuor.
Point of Kufuor did.
President Kufuor. I like us to refer to our president.
Yes, His Excellency. His Excellency President Kufuor, Gentle Jack, did a certain portion of the sea defense project.
The Mills Mahama administration.
The Mills Mahama government started a completely new phase, and phase 1 was completed. Remember, the phase 2 was expected to start in 2017. By the time phase 1 ends, then MPP came into power. As we speak, remember, that project is no more being done. The project has come to a halt. Remember,
the minister said
when it happened the last time, they told us that they were looking for money.
That's right.
To now even go and do the feasibility studies again. I remember on your program, I said, a project that phase 1 has been completed, and there are documents showing how phase 2 was to begin. How do you now start feasibility studies again? Then they promised that in their last budget, not the 2022 budget, the 2021 budget. After one of their cabinet ministers made some reckless comments about why Volta region should not even be given attention because they don't vote for the MPP. They came back after minority held them to account.
I'm waiting for you to land.
The MPP, after the minority held them to account, they promised in the last budget, remember, that they were going to start or continue with the sea defense project started by the NDC. The question is, what has happened to the sea defense project? If this issue is really a matter of priority to the government, they would have started something by now. Secondly,
and you're wrapping up.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up. Secondly, I do not want to believe that those regrettable, reckless comments that that cabinet minister made about why they should not pay attention to issues of tidal wave in the Volta region, because Volta region is the stronghold of the NDC, is the philosophy that underpins this government's thinking. Because if that is the case, that is the only thing that can really explain why till today the tidal wave continues to disturb the people, and almost all the time. And I feel very sad
but the minister has given you, the sector minister has given you assurance that he's looking for money to fix the problem.
Johnny, they started giving the assurance in 2018. It happened. They gave assurance. Go back and see the tapes. It happened again in 2019. That's for 2020, COVID and others. But 2021, it happened last year. It was a big issue. At the point, I virtually saw Nambo Jifaguma. She cried. She wept on TV.
In November.
In November, just last year. And assurances were given at the time as well. And so if it's about assurance, Johnny, then there's no need to even come and sit here in the morning and discuss that, because as for assurances, they have given several assurances. But as we speak today, what concrete steps has the Akufo-Addo government taken to ensure that the people around Ketu South and Logan, and then the coastal areas in the Volta region, and even other parts of the country, are well protected against tidal wave? Your predecessor started the project. All you need is for you to buy into the vision and invest. And it's not about money, because this government continues to waste money on many other useless projects.
Thank you.
It's about priority.
Wow.
If they really care about the people in the Volta region, they would have taken steps to ensure that the sea defense project
let's
is
not pump
completed.
emotions into it. Doc, so the assurances have come, yes, but the people are waiting. Their lives are being washed away. Their homes are being eaten by the sea. What can they hope for?
So first of all, let me help by way of education. The global warming is a reality. Climate change is real. And in as much as we are in Ghana, the damages will be felt much more than people in Europe. And why do I say that? Research has shown that the underdeveloped are hit harder by climate change, and in as much as we are hit harder, we are also ill prepared in terms of infrastructure development. We're also ill prepared in terms of our commitment to attending to the needs of climate change. Fortunately for me, I sat through countless discussions during the Scotland Co-op program, and I learned a lot. In all fairness, being very objective, I went in with an open mind, and I really learned a lot. And I really think that minus politics, all Ghanaians need to attend to the issues of climate change with seriousness. And I don't think that when the rains come, they come in NPP colors or NDC colors. And in as much as we are Ghanaian, we need to really attend to this issue on a more developmental basis, more so than politics. The EPA has also been very strong in terms of making advocacy, in terms of pushing the agenda. And then I think the Lands and Forestry Minister,
Lands and Natural Resources,
has also been very strong. And I take my hats off for Abujinapo. I think he's been a very wonderful ambassador. When you go to Works and Housing, you're talking about Honorable Asenso Boachi, the MP for Bantama. He's also a very formidable person. Now, history has it that the MPP administration saw the need for sea defense work at Keta. So we need to come to terms with the fact that under the leadership of former President Kufuor, the MPP, saw the need for this, and
Rawlings.
Yes.
Well,
Started the first
even better, Rawlings
Started,
got
yeah.
involved. Kufuor came and he did his
Right,
bid.
right.
And what I recall is that the funding that was appropriated for the sea defense was cut short by other governmental programs. That one, him and I were definitely not involved in terms of what was earmarked and what was actually used.
Right.
And I really think that these are some of the issues in our country whereby we appropriate something for a project only for us to be told later that X amount of that monies actually went to the project.
Priorities.
Exactly. So with no fault of the NDC administration, monies that the Kufuor administration had actually sourced for the Keta Sea defense, in as much as the Volta region is the topmost priority of the NDC, quote unquote, they found that money somewhere else to use for other priorities of the NDC administration. They would have to answer to Ghanaians as to what went into the decision of, I won't use wasting because he uses wasting, of misappropriating monies that was meant for the Keta Sea defense. I'll leave that for the NDC administration to answer. It wouldn't be my explanation. Now, what is very obvious?
But then they started phase one, and after that,
sourcing funds is not an easy business. We're talking about millions of dollars. This sea defense, as you look at it, the project involves the resettlement. Any of these projects is not just the stand. It's not just the mortar and bricks of it. It involves a transition process, moving. And let me cite this: the MPP lost the coastal places in Accra largely because of some of these sea defense projects, and you need that political will. I'm always reminded by Kufuor's experience with Kaswa,
right,
when he had to do what was politically suicidal but necessary for the people. And these are not decisions anybody can take lightly. But one thing is certain: no political figure in Ghana thinks that the people or the plight of the Voltarians are not important.
They say the president has not visited them, has not breathed a word about them. Same for the vice president. The minister has not visited them. They say the minister went to Azizanya instead and didn't come to them. So they are raising these questions.
I think we ought to be a bit cautious in terms of, are we for just the theatrics of singing, or are we for the people who are doing the legwork to make sure that things happen? And I beg.
Doc, sorry. They raised these questions and mirrored it against what happened at Apiati.
Well, I mean, if we mirror
the swift response to,
and in all fairness, let's be very frank and honest, Apiati isn't also, quote unquote, necessarily a strong MPP hold. So that
is a swing.
That whole question about it, I hope you get where I'm coming from. So if it had happened in the eastern region, necessarily maybe on the quote unquote Achim corridor, then yes, I can buy into your argument. But
it's not my argument; it's their argument.
The argument they're making. But Apiati, as we know, was a one-off incident that had never occurred in the history of our political discourse. And largely, if you look at the tidal wave, the history, there's been countless government engagement with the people. Countless. That, the tides are changing. Global warming is making this place sink, literally. And there are many, many stories of townships that have been literally engulfed by water. Not just in Ghana, but many parts of the world. I mean, I think as we talk, just last year, Germany had their fair share of flooding, which was unheard of. So the key thing the discussion should be on climate change and then the need to respond appropriately. We have issues of drainage in this country. Is my biggest headache in my constituency, where we get floods. Now, let me also state that if we are forgetting, Alaju used to be on the news countless times when I was growing up. I mean, when it drizzles, you hear Alaju. When it rains, you hear Alaju. When it's a dump, you hear Alaju. And unfortunately, in this era, I think Keta Sea Defense, quote unquote, is becoming like the new Alaju, where anytime we have huge rains on that side, we'll hear it. Now, monies are needed in huge quantities to make this possible. Sourcing it, in one breath, the opposition says do not go for any loans. In another breath,
because you have had too many already.
In another breath, they want nice things, and
they say cut the waste.
Now,
don't go for more loans. And use the monies judiciously. The president mentioned. The president mentioned in the State of the Nation address that he wants to protect the coastal line.
Absolutely.
Right from the Volta region all the way to the west. He mentioned that in the State of the Nation address.
Very important.
An admission that he recognizes that things are not the same anymore.
Very important. So what I think is that, one, greening the earth is costly. Protecting our coastal lines is costly. All of these things that we are to do to preserve the integrity of our land are costly, and it cannot come by just talk. Absolutely. I really think that our financing of coastal, related work through either the Coastal Development Authority or any of the governmental ministries that will be responsible for this, we ought to think of it apolitical in a way, in the sense that both parties, the NDC and the MPP, need to come up with the most appropriate so that continuity is guaranteed. Because I wouldn't want a scenario where Works and Housing Minister Sensobuachi goes to secure X amount of dollars for this program, only for another government to come and then says that these people, this money,
we should use it for
something else. And these are some of the core challenges of our developmental agenda. And I really think that has to be addressed once and for all.
I see. Now they are looking for some solutions in terms of shelter. I know that Honorable Ablajifa Gomashi, Honorable Gakpe, and then Honorable Sepe, because I was in the three areas. We took relief items to them and all of that. The key thing they are raising is that they are looking for some shelter with a small kitchen, makeshift by the side, and some decent toilets, because the people are now beginning to defecate openly. Can we at least do that for them in the interim?
I think it's in order. Granted, in all fairness, relocation or resettlement is not very easy. For instance, the government might earmark a certain place for this. The township, for quote-unquote religious reasons, traditional reasons, might say that, we don't like this. So I'm not entirely sure about the nuances in terms of where government wants to take them and where they want to be. And you know what? You can't resettle them still in the same vicinity. That's a quote-unquote waste of resources. So I think that we ought to, one, have the engineers definitely engage the township, and then the language, the communication. I speak zero ever.
Right.
So me going there cannot help. We need to find people who have the appropriate dialect, even ever Krano. Different parts of the townships speak differently, and I find that very interesting. So we need to get the appropriate people who can really talk to them and get through them. And let's minimize the politicization of this.
I hear you. Well,
Because
let's afford the MCA an opportunity to also respond. Mr. Maxwell Lugudo is the municipal chief executive for the Ketu South Municipal Assembly. Honorable, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Good morning, sir.
How is your backyard this morning?
Yes, actually, I want to take this opportunity to greet your cherished viewers. I was actually watching the TV when I heard my brother Abana making a very wild allegation.
Thank you.
I was sadly disturbed. He is on the national television and the whole world is watching.
From the area.
Some of the things, if you want to say, you really have to cross-check. What is happening in Salakope and Agaveje, all those places, I have not been sleeping. If you ask the people there, he made mention of an assemblyman who said, Adward Moto were given to me.
That's right.
And I'm not giving it out.
That's right.
I'll be very much happy if you mention that assemblyman's name, because I'm always with them. Let me make this clarification. Last year, when the tidal waves happened, Koda came promising to give Adward Moto to the fishermen who lost their livelihood.
Okay.
Koda brought Suzuki brand, 10 of them.
Okay.
But the fishermen say they don't like that particular brand. They don't want Yamaha.
I see.
So as I'm talking to you now, that particular one is still at our warehouses.
So it is not a case where you have refused to distribute. It is because the people say they do not prefer that brand that Jerry Ahmed Schweib and his team at Koda brought to you.
Choice.
That's not true.
Yes, exactly.
I see. Now, are these the only relief items, for example, that Koda brought?
Koda brought other relief items like these detergents and all those things. But those things were given to all the assembly members to distribute, which we supervised. But the thing was handed over to NADMO.
Okay. Mr. Lukuda, I would have to beg you to tune down the volume of your television set and listen through the phone.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. So now, where are we now in terms of the support for the people? Adam is making this allegation on national TV. You say he is wrong.
Can I come in?
And, well, hold on. You say he is wrong. And you are only confirming to us now that the people did not like the brands that were brought for them. How long ago has this been, and why is this now coming up?
Yes, actually, says that is the half, and let the other half for the people. So that's why it's Koda that promise of the machine. Apart from that, so President Thursday, let me take this opportunity to thank the second lady. She was doing everything possible to help the Salakop. Surprisingly, Thursday I was in the office. She asked me to come. So we're hello?
Yeah, you're live on air, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. So surprisingly, I was with her on Thursday. We were discussing how to resettle those who are affected by the waves. So luckily, we've gotten some funding to build 2-bedroom houses on the island, the proposed island.
Okay.
So that Saturday, myself and the engineers were at they came to see where the thing the buildings will start. Apart from that, there is some small work they need to cross before going to the island, which the mining salt there. I'm going to start even today. So it's even surprising something that is happening. It's not like we don't care, as my brother Agbana is saying. It's not true. I wish he himself come down. What is
I see. Now, these shelters or buildings that you want to put up for the people, how long do you propose that it would take for you to complete them?
Yes, actually, we discussing with the people there.
Your line is breaking, Mr. Lugudo. If you kindly reposition yourself, I'll be happy about that.
Can you please hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear now. Go ahead, please.
Exactly. So actually, when the tidal wave happened last year, we involved the hydrological service department.
Okay.
To come and see the island that will be used for resettlement. So those are the processes we are going through. So last Saturday, myself and the engineers were there to see if the work, we can quickly start doing it. So we plan by 4 or 5 months and those 2-bedroom house, 50 of them, we start with 50 of them, which will continue. By that time, it will be completed.
I see.
Only for this tidal wave to happen Sunday.
Mr. Lukudo, so in the interim, those who are stranded, sleeping in churches, schools, I had occasion to see some of them at Keta. They were sleeping in the uncompleted community center. The IPEG toilet facility that's supposed to be used by them is uncompleted as well. It's become a pigsty. Where do they go now in the interim?
Yes, as myself, the NADMO is bringing a temporary tent for us to erect for them. Apart from that, we advise most of them who have families closer that they can let them stay with them for some hours. We prepare for what they can stay temporarily.
The question of feeding and, if you like, open defecation, I'd like to connect the two. Doc will understand why I want to do that. Do they have food supplies? And open defecation has also become a big problem. I'm sure you're aware of that, sir.
Yes.
What is your plan?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Myself with the NADMO. Luckily for the regional minister is coming this morning. We're going there to see how we can help solve this issue as quickly as possible.
I see. Salugudo, I'll leave it here. I'm sure we can connect with you in good time. You wanted to ask him a question.
You see, I think that
I don't want us to be antagonistic.
No, it's not
okay,
antagonistic.
So,
my brother, but I think he has to be fair to the good people of Ketu South. To have the opportunity to serve them as MCE is a
what is your
prestigious
question? We don't have all the time.
He just told blatant lies about the people, the fishermen not interested, not being interested in the brand. In the brand. Let me tell you what the issue is.
No, you're not asking,
arrangement. He knows. Even there were fishermen from Agaveji. I'm from Ketu North. I know that area so well, and he knows. Fishermen even from Agaveji went to him. They were interested in the outboard motors, but you see, the arrangement was that give the outboard motors out so that they pay 1,000 Ghana cedis on monthly basis. He said since November last year that he insisted they should pay the full cost of 10,000 Ghana cedis. Let him tell me that I'm telling lies.
Hold on.
Call fishermen, call assemblymen from the area.
I think your point is...
I think it's important for my brother to be fair to the good people of Ketu South.
Mr. Lukudo, would you like to respond to this one quickly for me, please?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. It's never true. He has come to the ground. The people say they want Yamaha. They don't want Suzuki.
People from
According to fishermen, Yamaha is good for the river, not the sea.
I see. So
why would I keep the machines in the rooms if the people want it?
So these outboard motors, what was the payment plan for it? Is that the 10,000 per month or 10,000 cedis upfront? 1,000 per month or 1,000 per month in installments or 10,000 upfront? What was your proposition?
Says they should pay it in installments.
Monthly, 1,000.
Okay. And that was the same thing you told the people?
Exactly.
I see. Now, so now that they are flatly rejected or refused to collect what you have, what are you doing with the machines?
Actually, they're in the room. So I even reported I was with the CEO of Koda yesterday that the people said they are not interested in the Suzuki. They wanted Yamaha. And the Koda CEO said they don't have Yamaha at now until Yamaha comes. So if they are ready, the Suzuki is there. But they said they don't want Suzuki. You can even send your teams to come and find out from the ground.
And did they give you a specific reason as to why they don't want Suzuki but they want Yamaha?
According to them, Suzuki is good for the lagoon radar.
Okay.
Or rivers. But they use Yamaha on the sea. Okay. You can send your team to find out.
But as MCE, what do you know to be the true situation? Is what the fishermen saying, is it correct?
Yes. I asked even the chief fishermen, they said that they prefer the Yamaha. and that's what they want.
So if the official folks who go to sea, and you're giving them a tool that will be functional or most effective in the lagoon, then obviously you are not going to help their cause, correct?
Exactly. That is so I have to report back to Koda. So I have to report back to Koda that the machines that you brought, people say they don't want it. And apart from that, Koda invited me to, they gave me another brand of Yamaha.
Okay.
To the extent that I took the chief fisherman to Accra to go and see if that's what he want. And they said no. Even the Yamaha, they have two types. They have the long blade and they have the short blade. So what Koda is having short blade. So I even brought sample of the short blade for them to come and see if that is what we want. As I'm talking to you now, we have the short blade, the sample that I brought. And they say they don't want the short blade too. They want the long blade.
I see. Mr. Lukudo, the school children, what is happening? Because we also do know that when the water comes up, it inundates their schools and some of them shy away from going to school. What is the plan from where you sit?
I've discussed that with the regional minister. So he's coming back. He's coming there today for us to sit and see what we can quickly do to assess the situation. Water
supply, drinking water. Do you have some?
As water supply, there's drinking water available because we have 5 years.
Okay, I see. Mr. Lugudo, I thank you very much for your time and your patience this morning to respond to some of our concerns. Thank you. He's the MCE for the Ketu South Municipal Assembly there. That's it, Doc.
Let me do something unusual. I really, in as much as I'm governmental, I think that many Ghanaians should rally around the municipal and offer any help they can in cash or kind to these people. It is a good thing to do, and I'm sure that some religious bodies can also get on. Many a times we think that everything necessarily must come from government. There are some good things that are also from private enterprise, and I would use this medium to plead with the banking community and all the other lucrative mining companies out there to at least consider the people of Keta and go help them in one way or the other. So speaking of Apiati, I think I can commend many companies that have also gone to help.
Okay.
And I really think that might be one of the avenues that the media can also do something to help. So that we're constructive.
We took food and plenty things to the Volta region before NADMO came.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we took, in fact, trucks of food. Plenty.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Plenty. Yeah. Trucks of food to the place. Anyway, Koko, toss in President Akufo-Addo's video for me. We've exhausted this Keta tidal waves in entirety. It was just supposed to be a small chunk of the food, but we've Koko, please play the video for me.
But if I look at the Ghanaian economy at the moment, it's doing. I mean, let's just be honest. It's doing terribly.
Not terribly.
Well, inflation in your country, inflation in Ghana.
I don't know the economy in the world that's doing well.
Well, inflation in Ghana. Inflation in Ghana.
The highest inflation.
Well, 15.7%.
Yeah.
The Ghanaian cedi has fallen 20% on the dollar. The worst after Russia, which has a lot of sanctions against it.
It's began to firm up. It has begun to firm up, and we're seeing the cedi systematically appreciating against the dollar.
People still can't employ. I was just reading today. People in the hospitality industry that you're pushing so hard. Having to lay their staff off. We've got taxi driver unions threatening strikes because of spiraling fuel costs. I mean, it doesn't look like a place that I want to go and put my money.
Where will you put your money in the world today? Where will you put your money? In Britain, which is suffering the worst standard of living statistics for over 30 years? Let's situate ourselves correctly. The world is going through very difficult times. Ghana is no exception. Nigeria is no exception. There's no country in the world that is escaping the ravages of both COVID-19 and also the impact of the... But what you need to look at are where are the the elements being put on the ground that look beyond the COVID and beyond the Russian-Ukraine war. And I think you'll find that in Ghana, the recovery program that we have is one that is considered very credible, and it is what is going to give us the opportunity to come out of this period a stronger economy. The digital economy, the mobile economy.
Yes, but you're taxing people on money that has already been taxed.
Is the biggest economy in the is emerging as the biggest economy in the country, and for a long period has not had any taxation at all. So it is important now that they also come into the net, the ECOWAS area, the general average today, tax to GDP average is about 18%. Ghana, we're at 13%. So it's as if you're talking about a country which is already overtaxed, if anything at all, is undertaxed.
Okay, let me take you up on that point. On your low tax ratio to GDP. I'm just going to quote. Read this quote to you. It's from John Kwache, who I'm sure you might know is the Director of Research at the...
That's President Akufo-Addo there with Peter Kwache of the BBC, occasion to interview him sometime in 2017. President says, no, we're cool, we're being undertaxed, and that we have put in measures to bounce back and recover the economy. The CD is firming up, as he likes to put it, and the economy is not in dire straits. What do you say?
I think that one of the biggest problems that we have currently is the fact that even in these very difficult times, we have a leadership that is refusing to accept that we are here because of their incompetence, their ineptitude, and their mismanagement of the economy. Because, Johnny, when you speak to President Akufo-Addo and members of his government, they are quick to mention Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19 as the reasons for which we are experiencing these difficulties. Forgetting that when you look at all the economic indicators, in 2019 and early 2020, when COVID had not hit our shores, these indicators were already pointing to an economy that was plummeting, an economy that was on the verge of collapse. And so we can go into the various indicators. Johnny, if you are telling us that nowhere cool, that the whole world, no economy is doing well, and you are taking pride in that. Now, the question is that even if, okay, assuming without admitting that indeed...
I don't think the president...
Allow him, please.
Assuming without admitting that... Assuming without admitting that indeed all these countries that he's talking about, the whole world, the economy is not doing well. Why must you be part of the West performing? Did COVID not hit Togo, Benin, and the other neighboring countries? And if you look at our position in the world economy, prior to even COVID, if the economy was as resilient as they wanted us to believe, COVID and Russian war could not have accounted for the mess that we find ourselves in today. And so we'll go into it. First, the president made a very ridiculous point about being undertaxed. And he wanted to compare us to, or he was comparing Ghana, an average analysis and of all of that. Right. But Johnny, interesting. What is the standard of living in Ghana and the cost of living in Ghana? And so if you are saying that we are undertaxed, or let's say you take country A and say that country is paying on the average 18% of tax, ask yourself, what is the minimum wage in those countries? Because, Johnny, if you are receiving 1,000 Ghana cedis, just an example, in a month, and you are paying a tax of 30%, what it means is that you are paying 300 Ghana cedis on your monthly income.
Earnings, right.
Now, if I am earning 500 Ghana cedis, and yet I'm paying 25%, take 25% of 500 Ghana cedis and do the calculation. How do you compare the two and say, because somebody, look at the economic conditions.
This is
Allow, Doc.
analysis, and I really. Think
But you see, in taxation, I am an economic. Yes, I am an economic policy analyst. You don't just analyze taxes. No, with assessment.
I like to
You
hear
don't. You see, Johnny.
Sorry,
Johnny. Taxes alone is tax. Okay, taxation is not the only indicator of a strong economy. There are many other factors.
18%.
Now, if you are making reference to only taxation and you are saying that because ours is below the average, it means that we are under tax, and that is why you are imposing hardship with e-levy and many other taxes that,
but the
that you are
told
introducing.
You what he would use it for? He said to bounce back.
Please, all the taxes that we have paid, what has he used it for?
CD is firming up.
All that, please, where? You know, the president just told blatant lies to the BBC. Again, let's even, before we even get into the argument of how the economy is doing, Johnny, at the time, President Akufo-Addo was then candidate Akufo-Addo in 2016, and he was saying that we were paying too many taxes, and that when they come, they were going to remove nuisance taxes and all of that. Did we cross the average of the 18?
We did, didn't it?
At the time, did we cross the average of the 18?
No.
Is he now realizing that we are undertaxed? That this honesty of leadership must stop.
No.
That is it.
So wait.
Let me ask. Because you claim.
Don't engage. If you engage,
No, you see.
he will step in for you.
Yeah. But it's important that you were claiming in 2016. In 2016, when the debt to GDP ratio was just about 56%, you said that any economy that has a debt to GDP ratio about 50% is an economy that is bound to fail, and that the managers of the economy were not doing what they were incompetent. You came, as we speak today, we have crossed over 80%.
But you didn't have a
and we are
pandemic
getting,
on your hand.
Before the pandemic in 2019, the debt to GDP ratio was about 78%. Did they have a pandemic in 2019? So you cannot blame COVID for the failure of the Akufo-Addo government.
Your argument
before then,
hold, really.
even if you look at the performance, the general performance of the economy, look at the GDP growth. Johnny, when the NDC came to power, we had on the average 90,000 barrels of oil because we had only one oil field. Due to the visionary leadership of President Mahama, 2 oil fields were added, and as we speak today, on the average, we are producing 200,000 barrels of oil.
Let me.
But we added Sankofa, we added 10 fields, and that is what is accounting for the growth in the economy.
More education.
No, I mean, what is it? What have I said that is not true? No, don't. You have your 10, so just respect the viewers.
So many misinformation.
Which misinformation?
So not your reservations.
One, the contractual agreement for the wells were done by the MPP.
If he does,
let me educate
but if he
on
does
that.
that,
I mean, that is. What you have said, I think you rather need education. You rather need education. No, listen to me. Doc, you rather need education. You are saying discovered. At the time NDC was in power, the NDC was in power, how many oil fields were in operation? Was it not only one? No, I'm asking you, is it not one?
So
we came and we brought Sankofa fields and the 10 fields. From 2017, if you look at the growth of the economy, Johnny, over 46% of the growth of the economy is accounted by the oil sector. These are facts. What are you talking about?
Young man, wait up.
No, it's not about being a young man. The question is, no. The question is, how many oil fields did the NDC operate the economy with? How many? No answer. The people are listening.
Relax.
The people of Anyaso also want to know how many oil fields. One.
I'm coming to you.
90,000 barrels.
Allow him then.
Yeah, so he should answer. He shouldn't explain. How many oil fields did the NDC operate the economy with? How many oil fields?
It's almost like admitting that Atamils did the N1. It's the most beautiful period when I saw. When I saw Atamils.
Go straight to the point. How many oil fields? And how many barrels of oil did we get in a day?
Do you
answer the question?
You want to be informed.
So answer, how many oil fields?
You wish to be informed.
I am only asking you a question. How many oil fields?
You wish to be informed.
So answer.
So case in point, oil discovery was done by somebody in this country.
Chief,
and some folks,
this
some
long
folks,
history, this
some
long,
folks said
this long unnecessary.
the oil was
it's a needless history. We all know
the oil
discovery was
I've forgotten the word they used for oil when it was discovered.
No, this is needless.
Do you remember?
How many oil fields? 90,000. Yeah, we are not.
Now,
you are not answering my question.
Yeah, my key point is that the contractual arrangement for all the oil fields were done under the MPP administration.
Is that what we are talking about? It is not true, but is that what we are talking about?
Listen, when you decide to create an airline industry, you start with one airline and then you add on.
Right.
So the key question,
when the foundation is set up
around the bush
for takeoff, you cannot discredit all that work. And that is what I want him to understand, that case in point,
the explorative
the exploration, the actualization of the additional
how many oil fields?
Wait up. The actualization of the oil fields was not necessarily just with the NDC administration. Now, if
the bone of contention is the number of oil wells. Which is why I stopped him airborne for you to speak.
The number of oil wells were known in the NPP era. The actualization, the digging.
What was going to happen in future?
It was all done.
Okay.
So don't sit here and claim that the Mahama administration discovered those oil fields.
I didn't say discovered.
So that's my point.
I didn't use the word
So
discovered.
your argument,
because
governance,
you didn't ask
is
the
a
question.
continuum.
You didn't answer the question, so allow me to
the point
continue.
is
I
that
don't have
governance is a
no
continuum.
I asked you a question. You wasted my time.
No,
Johnny, let me
and I haven't had a bite
Johnny,
about the president's point.
You have a bite.
Johnny,
the president's point.
You have a bite.
Johnny,
Because he's all over and not helping.
The point must be made.
Wrap up.
The point must be made that, and our viewers can see, he has failed to answer the very basic question.
Which is what?
The point I made was that, Johnny, the point I made was that when the NDC was in power, Ghana was producing on the average 90,000 barrels of oil.
Okay.
And because of the addition of the 10 fields and the Sankofa fields by the President John Dramani Mahama administration
during his era,
Ghana now produces 200,000 barrels of oil on the average daily. And so that means more money to the economy. And so if there is any government that has accrued more revenue in the history of this country, it is the Akufo-Addo government. And yet, despite all the good things that we have bequeathed to them, this government has failed miserably to make any good use of the resources. And today, they want to blame COVID and blame Russia-Ukraine war for where we are. And I'm saying that save 2020, 2021, 2022, and let's even analyze the economy only up to 2019 before COVID came. It was still an economy that was failing. Despite borrowing, you told us that you will never borrow, but as we speak, before 2020 when COVID came, you had borrowed in excess of 122 billion. And so how do you blame COVID for the woes of the economy?
So you say the president didn't represent the facts. That's what you're saying.
I mean, how can he even say that Momo is an industry tax? That I pay, am I now an industry? That I pay Momo is an industry.
It's a growing industry.
No. He said it was not. They are not taxing individuals, but they are taxing industry.
If you can give me
so when I do Momo,
right?
I send Momo. Okay, I send Momo to my family. That becomes I'm an industry.
It's the fastest growing.
How can you even tell such blatant lies on international?
No, stepping. The president said
media.
Town is hard. CD is refirming up.
Yeah.
And also he's put in measures to recover the economy. But we must look for money internally, which is why Momo is essential. And, well, Peter quoted Dr. Kwachi and all that he said, but he said, well, that is his opinion. But from his side, he thinks that this is the way to go.
Listen, there are two key things. The facts are there. The tax ratio in our country is below the average in our region. That is a fact. Now, one thing I wanted him to become aware of is that percentage of tax is regardless of your income. Whether you're earning 1,000, 20,000, whatever the country is, that tax ratio is regardless. Whether it's 500 Ghana, 200 Ghana, once the tax ratio is set at 13 and it's below the 18 on average, it is. It has not. That is comparative.
But at your level, if you're earning 500, at your level, when they take X amount from your money, you feel the pinch like somebody will feel like 10,000 deducted from their money.
The key thing, and let me add here that what I wanted to emphasize is the fact that those percentages are on average.
Okay.
And what is in Ghana now is lower than the region.
But
now
you promised that you were going to move from taxation to production.
Well, so let me cite this. In principle and in truthfulness, the MPP government, when we came, cut out so many quote unquote nuances taxes, and still went ahead with massive governmental interventional programs, which some people have turned a blind eye to. The likes of the cost of engaging more students in the senior high school program, planting for foods and jobs, all these other governmental programs, which we can see Filigadochi. unless they can't see.
The prices of food are still
Now,
expensive on the market.
now, what is obvious? What is obvious is that the MPP administration did all it could, exempted us from a lot of taxes. Unfortunately, midstream, one illness came that nobody knew of, and we have to admit the fact that COVID has impacted the world.
So you
globally.
disagree with those who say you have mismanaged the economy?
Oh, we haven't mismanaged. I mean, listen, let me be frank with it. Was interesting that he asked about the hotel industry and the fact that people have laid off people. Yes, tourism had gone down worldwide. It's not just a Ghanaian thing. Tourism, Marriott Hotel laid off a lot of people. Airline industry laid off a lot of people. It is not just a Ghanaian thing. And we need to pay attention to that and not discount it. You cannot discount it. I have relatives who lost jobs from, these industries. Now, it is picking up, and I think we need to commend the president for pushing that more people travel into the country so that our hotel industry...
The president is talking about taxing industries, but if I send money to you, I am not an industry. I am an individual. And Peter put it rightly. He said, you are taxing monies that have already been taxed.
Wait, but that premise is wrong.
No, if I get my salary.
Wait up.
So, Doc, if I get my salary this month, I do a pull to my Momo account.
Correct.
If I decide to buy this Awake mineral water with my Momo account.
Will you pay VAT?
Well, you pay VAT.
Yes.
You pay COVID levy. You pay tourism levy. You pay NHIL. You pay Get Fund. And if you pay via Momo, you pay e-levy as well.
Which is to help with the infrastructure for technology, which we are failing to appreciate.
But you said that you're going to use communication service tax to achieve the same thing, create jobs.
We are improving on the technological infrastructure, which is very important. And I keep saying this, that...
I just want to say that.
Thank you.
I just want to say that, Johnny. Every problem in Ghana now can be solved by e-levy. This is how they have made mockery.
Engineer Kwame Agboja said that one. The MP for Adaklu says, Mr. Hughes, I think it's time we invest in early warning capabilities. Heat waves, rainstorms, ocean currents. We can't be pretending that these things just happen. While we can't stop them, we can have an early detection to warn people ahead of time. Strengthening our sea defense mechanisms are necessary and urgent, but we need to do that in addition to early warning capabilities, and that's an architect speaking. That sharp there. Happy birthday to Sharon Rose of EcoBank, known on Facebook as His Excellency His Royal Highness Nana. This is from all your friends. Also to Edith Afia Afueda of the UPSA. Also to Duncan Amoa's wife, says happy birthday to you, Abigail. Also to Ibrahim Obing Mensa. Your wife Magdalene Ohinewa Mensah has a birthday today. Happy birthday. Belated one to Kojo Opon Kruma. Today actually. Okay, Kojo Opon Kruma. Here he built a very beautiful edifice for the people in Ofuasia. It'll be a Presby Secondary School there, yeah. And say again. Who? Millicent Amankwaibwa. Yes, she said she hosted you and Felix Ofosu-Kwachi.
She told you?
Yes, she told me that you came to do donations there. You have never donated anything to me and Doc before. Yeah. Millicent, good morning to you. Sonyani West. We'll see you after the break.
Some green shit.